Baby, when we touch. All right, let's see what we got going here. Live stream. I am ready to get it on this Super Sunday. 14. Where you at? All right. Send this. Ah, damn it. All right, this is Sports for Real. Getting ready for Super Bowl Sunday. Got all kind of crap going on right now. Waiting on waiting on Jay to show up. And get to it. All right. I can't get enough. I don't know what just happened. This is Sports for Real for anybody that's out there. Let's see if we got chat going on here. Can't see it. All right, this is Sport for Real with Coach Hall. Starting out a little rocky here, but I don't care. This is a holiday for me and for sports fans all over the world. And anybody who wants to chime in with me, hit me up. Um, Drop a chat, send a comment, whatever. Let's talk some football today. Today we got Super Bowl 58, a rematch of sorts between Kansas City and San Francisco. Played 4 years ago, so you can't really call it a rematch, but it's a rematch in the fact that these two teams have met before. If you go back over the history of the NFL since they've been playing the Super Bowl, by the way, there are lots of rematches that have occurred during the Super Bowl. The biggest one that's happened more than any is Pittsburgh and Dallas. They played 3 times over the years. They played in Super Bowl 10. Pittsburgh knocked them off 21-17. They played again in Super Bowl 13. That was down in Miami. So was Super Bowl 10. Pittsburgh won that one 35-31. And then they played again in Super Bowl 30, also in Miami. And that went down 27-17 Dallas, I believe. So Pittsburgh, they are human after all. They can lose a Super Bowl every now and then, but we still have 6. As noticed by this great background, this is actually a picture of a tray that was given to me as a gift. So it is not officially licensed product per se, not made by a manufactured Steeler company, but this is somebody who did some artwork. So as far as I'm concerned, it's legal. Got a problem with it? Fine. But if you want your own artwork like this in your own team colors, even if you're a Cowboy fan, get with me and I can tell you how you can get yours. Meanwhile, you can always drop a super thanks for the information that we've been kicking out. Got some new I got some new things coming down the pike this year. I'm kind of tired of right now in my own little coaching duties, so I can't get as active as I like to be, but those times are coming. But again, this is Super Bowl 58. It is the Chiefs and 49ers day, and a lot of people are amped up over this one because it is a good matchup and it should be a tight finish. If you remember Super Bowl 54, it came down to Jimmy Garoppolo. He kind of reminded me of what Blake Bortles did when New England beat Jacksonville at that time. If he would have got the ball out that much farther, Jacksonville would have went to the Super Bowl that year. If Garoppolo had got this much on the ball, then the 49ers would have beat the Chiefs 4 years ago. It's going to come down to, as always, can you stop the run? The run is very important when it comes to stopping football teams. Even though this is an age when everybody wants to air it out and throw for 400 or 500 yards, and the defense is really hamstrung, it still comes down to can you run the football? And you saw Baltimore, who was considered the best team all year, they ran the hell out of the football. And because of that, they had a chance to make it to the Super Bowl. They got derailed, but in the end, it didn't quite, work out for them. All right. So what I'm waiting on now, I have a special guest. I'm waiting on Jay. We talked to Jay before. He is a Ravens fan, so he should have some interesting perspective concerning what's going to take place. Considering that the Ravens, everybody thought that the Ravens should be here, and there he is. What's going on, Jay?
Brother? What's up, big brother?
I don't know if you can hear me yet.
I hear you. You hear me? Can you hear me?
You there?
Yeah, you hear me?
I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
I hear you.
Can you hear
You
me?
see me?
You can't hear?
I can't hear. Can you hear?
Man, I can't see. Well, I'm gonna start recording, so if it don't work out, we just do it again. All right?
All right. Can you hear me now?
Start recording. I don't know what's going on. Hold on for a second. All right, you trying to say something?
You hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay.
All right, I had this microphone on. Last time we talked, I listened to the audio, and a lot of the words were kind of cut off a little bit.
Okay.
And the microphone helps a little bit, but now I can't hear you, so I'm just gonna go like I've been going, man. So how you been getting along?
Huh?
How you been getting along?
I'm all right. I finally recovered, I think.
I was about to ask you how long it took you to recover, man.
A while. I ain't even want to talk about it.
You don't even want to talk about it at all?
No, I ain't want to talk about it. I'm disappointed.
Oh, you didn't want to talk about it.
I didn't want to talk about it. So
okay.
I'm good now. I'm good now.
Well, before we get into that, what do you think about the two teams that's in the Super Bowl today?
I think they're there because they earned it.
Okay. You think Kansas City is deserving to be there, even after they got by your team?
They beat us. They deserve it.
Well, San Francisco beat Green Bay. They beat Detroit, but I don't know if they deserve it the way they played.
Hey, listen, I feel like if you got there, you won the games you needed to win to get there. So I'm gonna give them their credit. I'm gonna give them the credit where it's due. They got there. I still feel like it's supposed to be us. I still stand on everything I said about us and why I felt like we would be there. When it came to that game, we ain't show up.
Okay, well, let me hurt your feelings a little bit more. A lot of people are saying that San Francisco dodged the bullet when Baltimore got beat. What's your comment on that?
I stand on that too.
Well, it'd be a different matchup the second time around.
Understood.
Okay, well, I kind of feel the same way with the way that San Francisco kind of backed into the Super Bowl, but now that they're here, anything can happen.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They at the end of the day, they have the most talented roster in the league. I feel like for the last 5 years, San Francisco has been Super Bowl ready. They were missing the quarterback and a few other pieces. They went to the Super Bowl with Garoppolo. He wasn't good enough.
Right.
Purdy's better than Garoppolo to me.
Okay, my thing is this. Why would the NFL let San Francisco stack talent? Why would you let them go get McCaffrey out of Carolina? Why would you let Chase Young go play from Washington? Why would the league allow that to happen?
They chose it.
Well,
just like the Eagles that 1 year.
Just let the league let them stack the team?
Yeah, just like the Eagles that 1 year. Sometimes you're the chosen team. Remember that year when the Eagles went and got Osmond Wild and all them people, and they thought they was the dream team?
Uh-huh.
when the Broncos went and got Gary Kubiak and they got Peyton Manning and they had Wes Welker and that whole team.
Right.
Sometimes you just a chosen team in the moment.
Well, I wanted to get to that same topic later on, but since you brought it up, let's talk about it now. A lot of people are saying that the NFL picks and chooses who goes to the Super Bowl. Do you have any belief in that nonsense? Or is it nonsense?
I do, and to a certain extent, I do believe that they play a hand in who they want. Like I said, they're chosen.
Right.
They it definitely plays a hand.
Well, when you take into account that the NFL is actually one making the decisions from New York on those replays, it kind of makes you wonder if the whole thing is fixed. Kind of like wrestling.
It's choreographed when it comes to wrestling. That stuff is choreographed, and they have a predetermined outcome.
Right.
When it comes to football, I won't say that it's a predetermined outcome. I do think that they do have, as far as you got point spreads in sports.
Right.
So you don't necessarily got to win or lose the game to to satisfy Vegas. They want the game to play out a certain way. So they make calls to go along with how they want it to play out.
Okay, so along with that, now that you mentioned that gambling aspect of it, how can the NFL say, well, we don't want the players involved with gambling, but everything that you're doing, you're inviting DraftKings and other sports agencies where you can place bets. It's all around you, but you kind of like being hypocritical when you don't want the players to be involved.
Because you're betting on yourself, you're gambling on yourself. You are the product. The way they look at it, the product can't gamble on the product or against the product because you're betting on and against yourself in that instance. They don't want you to do that. So
okay, kind of like Pete Rose. Well, I don't know, man. I think if you're gonna promote it all the way, then you can't pick and choose who you want to punish for gambling and you making it available to everybody else. Case in point.
I feel like it's stipulated in their contracts. When you sign that contract to play for the league, I'm sure they got certain standards that they abide by. So they probably tell you in the black and white that you aren't allowed to do that. So if they do go against that, they're breaching their contract. So that's why they get punishment. We, on the other hand, we ain't got we don't got that. We don't have that. We're not tied down to that same restriction.
So basically, NFL talking out of both sides of their mouth then.
All they worried about is the money at the end of the day.
Exactly. So it's a con game. But I don't know if you know Art Schlichter. He used to play with the Colts, Ohio State quarterback.
I'm not too familiar with that name.
He played in the 80s. He just found him. He pretty much gambled away everything. And the league pretty much, Rozelle pretty much won't let him come back in the league because he have so many gambling issues. But now he shows up in the news recently. They found him with a crack pipe. So his whole life thrown down the drain based on gambling. And the point is, these guys are promoting it with the NFL, but you creating more Art Schlichters.
Yeah, but like I said, you signed the contract. You know what you're getting yourself into. You know before you gamble that you ain't allowed to gamble.
All right.
So that's a grown man making a grown man decision.
Okay, fair enough. Now let's get into what we were talking about today. Last time we clearly talked about the Ravens when they were on the train to the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Tell me what you saw when they played against Kansas City.
I saw a completely different team that we've seen all year. I saw a team that played like they were, I want to say it seemed like they were almost borderline like arrogant. Like they felt like the game was already won. I felt like the game was already won, but you still got to go out there and play it.
Right.
And the way and the attitude that the team took on, particularly on defense, the defense came to play. They let up some plays in the first half, but the second half, they completely shut them out. When you look at the offense wasn't nowhere near as productive as they were all year. That was the worst game we played all year. The absolute worst game offensively that we played.
Okay, what credit do you give Kansas City to that?
I give Kansas City some credit because their cornerbacks are a very good group collectively.
Okay.
But I do feel like for us to have been the number one rushing team in the league, much like the last time Lamar won MVP, he was the number one rushing team in the league. And in the game that we lost in the playoffs, it came down to us not running the ball.
Right.
It came down to us not staying true to who we are And it came down to us not playing our game in the game that was given to us, and we didn't take it.
Okay. Well, my thing is this. I had a theory or a formula on how to beat Baltimore. If you can't stop the running game between the Tigers, Gus Edwards and the crew, then you can't beat Baltimore. So the first thing you have to take away is the running game from the backs, not Lamar Jackson. And if you can do that, now you want to rush the quarterback in lanes. They had a spy on him, and they wouldn't allow him to get outside around the end. So now he's forced to throw from the pocket. And then you see a different Lamar Jackson. What do you think about that?
I'm not going to say that you're wrong in your theory, but I will say that if that was the formula to beat us, we didn't run the ball for them to have the opportunity to follow that formula. We didn't stay true to who we were. I would have loved to see us run the ball and get stopped and stay true to who we are versus playing the game that we played.
Okay. Well, going back the week before that when they played Houston, in the second quarter, right before the half, you started to see them tighten up because Houston was starting to get to them. They pretty much had the blueprint on how to beat them, but Houston didn't have enough weapons right now. So at halftime, you can see them kind of tighten up a little bit, and they didn't relax until they actually took the lead. Once they took the lead, then they started playing again. But Ryan Clark and a couple other players, former players, pointed out that Baltimore tends to get tight when things don't go their way. In other words, they're classic front runners. What do you think of that?
I think being as good as we are consistently, it's kind of like you don't have. That's the one thing that I can say that we didn't have is to be battle tested from coming from behind. I'm not going to say that we weren't built to come from behind, but we aren't in that position enough to really have to overcome it. The only time that happened for us this year where we had to overcome being down was against LA, the Rams.
Right.
We overcame it.
With a punt return.
Yep. Now, when it comes down to the Pittsburgh game and the Indianapolis game, we had the lead. So I can't say that we couldn't come from behind. We had the lead, and we lost it at the end to y'all, and we lost it in overtime to the Colts. So with those games, I won't even say that we were in that predicament. The only game that we had that situation was with the Rams, and then we had that situation with the Chiefs when I feel like the offense was playing more so off of emotion. They weren't playing. You can look back at that penalty on Zay Flowers, that Taunton penalty. Right. And you saw when he had that catch 2 plays later, he tried to do a little bit too much because he had a point to make. I'm going to get in the end zone. I'm going to dive, and I drop the ball, and then it's a touchback. He had a point to make. That's a young player, a rookie mistake. And I feel like after that, we never rebounded. The fact that the game was still at our fingertips, and we didn't make the adjustments to make any plays on offense to make it work. We could have ran the ball. Lamar had to throw a pass to himself.
Yeah, I saw that. That's not the first time that's happened before. Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, but the receivers weren't getting open because their secondary is really good.
Okay.
Had we run the ball at all, we could have overtaken that game. We only allowed 17 points. We averaged 27 points a game.
Now, Todd Monken was the offensive flower child, if you want to call it, before that game. How do you assess his performance in the championship game?
I don't put it squarely on Monken. I don't put it even squarely on Harbaugh. I give Lamar some of the blame.
Okay. What did he do or did not do that he should have done in the game?
I'll tell you this. Before the season started, a point that was made is that Todd Monken is going to give Lamar more responsibility at the line, and he has the ability to audible and make checks at the line.
Okay.
So Lamar, as the quarterback, regardless of what the play call was, you as the quarterback have the ability to read the defense, assess it, and make the right calls at the line. So for us to be the number 1 running team, if there was a play call where you had to pass the ball and you felt like we could have run the ball to be more effective, you had the responsibility to say, hey, we want to run the ball. And I don't think he did that.
So you think he was making play calls trying to prove a point that he really is good enough to get his team to the next level?
Yes, and I think the team was they were playing too emotionally charged. They weren't playing discipline. They were playing based off of emotion and
Mm-hmm.
trying to prove a point.
Right.
So I
Well,
feel like that's where we dropped the ball.
it was pointed out to me that a lot of times, even when he's in the shotgun, he takes a deep drop, 5, 6, 7 yards back. So he's 10, 12 yards behind the line of scrimmage. I haven't noticed a lot of that, but have you, Jackson?
I will say that he does it, and I feel like it's because of the dynamic of his game. He wants to see the entire field. So he wants to see if there is a lane that he can take in case nothing is open. You can't see that when you got 6'5", 6'7" guys standing in front of you. So you got to be able to see over them. So he takes that extra drop so that he can survey the entire field, which includes the possibility of him running the ball if everything breaks down.
I understand that, but one thing he didn't do, and he had the same situation when he had a 3rd and 1. Everybody was covered. He rolled around, and he tried to wait for somebody to come open, and they sacked him. If he had just taken off, he would have easily got the first down. I think he's overthinking back there.
I think he was.
It just gave him credit the week before. He's going to take 1, 2, 3 looks. If it's not there, he's gone automatically. He didn't show me that in the championship game.
Lamar, like I said, Lamar didn't play his best game. He wasn't terrible. I won't put it, like I said, I'm not putting it squarely on any one person. But when it comes to responsibility, as much as you can attribute to his success, I'm also going to give him the blame as well. I'm not going to sit here and say Lamar is the golden child and he can't do no wrong. That's my guy. Right. But I will say that I can, looking at his play all year versus that game, that's what I saw out of him.
Right.
He could have played a better game, but he just wasn't all the way there. He tried to do too much.
Okay, so what's next for the Ravens? What they got to do now?
What's next for the Ravens? We'll be back next year. We'll be back. I said we'll be back. We got the makeup that we need. We got the proper young players on our team that we need to bring back. We got Zay Flowers. Once this whole legal matter blows over, I don't think that's a big deal. I think he's good. So he's coming back. We have Kyle Hamilton back next year. Hopefully we can sign Madubuike. After that, I feel like we good. We got we're gonna lose Patrick Queen. We got a young linebacker that can fill in for him. So we got the recipe. What's next?
What about schematic? Schematic wise, what are you gonna do?
Schematic wise, I feel like schematic wise, we got the formula. We keep doing what we're doing. We good. We can go back next year and do the same thing we've been doing this year. We gotta fill the gaps. We gotta fill the gaps up because, like I said, we're gonna lose Queen, so we got somebody in his place. We're gonna lose the guy Geno Stone, but he was more so reserved. He was more so a luxury piece. I feel like we're still good at safety with Marcus Williams and Kyle Hamilton.
Right.
Our cornerbacks, we still got Marlon Humphrey. I like Ronald Darby. I like Brandon Stevens. I don't know if we bring Ronald Darby back though. So we still close the plug in. But as far as the bona fide players that we need, we got that number one receiver. We still might need to bring someone else in because we are losing everybody else. Odell Beckham's a free agent. Nelson Aguilar's a free agent. Rashad Bateman will be back. But we still probably got to bring in another guy at receiver. Our running backs, I think we probably go and get someone. We probably go and get like a Derrick Henry because Gus Edwards is gone, I think. But I do think we still want to lean on the run game, and we want to target a guy like a Derrick Henry.
Think he's a good fit there?
I think he's an excellent fit.
Well, they were trying to get him before. I don't know what happened in the end there.
We had him. The trade was done, and they pulled the plug at the end. Tennessee did.
Well, that'd be an interesting trade, but it might be a little competition with Jacksonville because he's right down the street here, you know.
Yeah, he from here. He's from Yulee, I think. So yeah, but I think he wants to come to Baltimore. In his heart of hearts, I think he wants to come to Baltimore. So we'll see how it plays out.
All right. Well, speaking of today's game, you know, you got Kansas City, even regardless of whatever mistakes made, that defense got the credit for them being here. So now they're taking on San Francisco. What does Kansas City defense have to do to limit San Francisco?
They gotta do. I won't say that they gotta do what they did against us because I think that had more to do with us beating ourselves.
Okay.
I will say their defense is going to be overmatched. I ain't going to say it's what they have to do. It's more what their offense needs to do. Their
You talking
defense is
about?
going to do. I feel like their offense is going to do okay. I feel like their defense is going to do okay, but they still going to get exposed. You still got to deal with Christian McCaffrey. You still got to deal with the best deep threat in the league right now in Ayuk. You still
Okay.
got you still got Deebo Samuel, who he can do anything from anywhere. So
Right.
you definitely got to defend. You got a lot of responsibilities when you play against San Francisco. Brock Purdy, while he's not an elite quarterback, he makes what seems to be perfect decisions
Right.
in that offense. He makes it go. So Kansas City defensively, they got their work cut out for them, but their offense got to come. Their offense got to come to play.
Well, if they're going to defend all these guys, what about Kittles? I think Kittles is the most important person. You got to take that tight end away before you have a chance, because that's Purdy to me is his number one target. That's what Garoppolo would not do. Throw it to Kittles.
And you see what I'm saying? You still got to deal with him too. I didn't even mention him, but you got McCaffrey, Ayuk, Deebo, and Kittle. That's a lot of
Well,
miles.
I think when they're hitting on all cylinders, they are a deadly combination. But like I said, if they come out like they did against Detroit, it's lights out. They ain't gonna be able to keep up.
Yeah, that all comes down to Purdy isn't an elite quarterback. He's a good quarterback. He's better than Garoppolo. I feel like that's all they needed was a quarterback that was better than Garoppolo to beat Kansas City the last time. But
Okay,
that's what they
so
played last time.
right, they missed it by this much. That cost them the championship. But do you think San Francisco emphasize running, or they try to get it out to Samuels, or just mix it around?
They can do whatever they want.
Okay.
They can do whatever they want. I don't really think it comes down to. I think they can dictate the game on offense. It's just a matter of based off of them having a very good secondary. I do feel like it's going to be more bubble screens. Christian McCaffrey, whole lot of Deebo Samuel. You're going to get a few plays over the top with Ayuk. Of course, Kittle, he can do whatever. But I feel like the game is going to be more predicated around running the ball. McCaffrey's going to have a huge game.
You think an MVP?
I think McCaffrey gets Super Bowl MVP.
Okay, so how does Kansas City counter that? You blitz, sit in the zone. What are you going to do?
Schematically, their offense should be very much indefensible. Schematically, now the weakness is you do have to blitz Purdy. You got to get him off. You got to get him off his balance. You got to get to him, but he still can get you with the quick game.
Okay.
So, to be honest with you, I think San Francisco is going to win. I think they're going to catch up with y'all for that number 6.
One day.
Today.
Right now, let's flip it to the other side of the ball. Kansas City, they run the football with Pacheco, and ever since he's been running the football, they changed a lot on offense. What do they have to do to compete against Frisco's defense? Who, by the way, they got those edge rushers, Bosa and now Chase Young. He's iffy, but he can make some plays.
Well, Chase Young is kind of in the doghouse right now. They had him benched last week. I don't know if he's going to play today. Or he might play, but they don't look at him as a premier player that they traded for. So I don't really know what he's going to look like in this defense today. But definitely you got Bosa, you got Greenlaw, you got Warner. You have a very formidable defense over there. What they're missing Hufanga. He would have been a difference maker if he was playing.
Mm-hmm.
That safety. But what do I think? I think Kansas City don't really have the firepower on offense outside of Pacheco and Kelce to really make their defense look vulnerable. They're going to make their plays here and there, but I don't think that they can make them look extremely vulnerable. I mean, Kelce, he's going to they play playground ball. So Kelce's going to get his. Pacheco going to get his occasionally. I don't see Rashee Rice having a very big game. He might have a decent game, but looking at the team schematically, Kansas City wasn't even supposed to get past us. Their offense couldn't do nothing against us. And the 49ers are a very good defense too. So I feel like they can do enough to limit their offense. I feel like the defense is going to be the difference maker.
So you're not predicting a blowout, are you?
I'm not predicting the blowout, but I am predicting San Francisco.
Well, what are they going to do with Mahomes? Mahomes got the official effect. If you get to him, he might throw a penalty to give him the ball back. He's going to get something to go his way. And
Prime
he's one of
example.
the, huh?
Prime example. He did it. Hey, that happened against us. But I'm not going to blame the referees. At the end of the day, we had to overcome the referees. I think, yeah, you playing against Mahomes. You got Mahomes, who's the best quarterback in the league, but you got San Francisco, who got the best offensive skill player combination in the league. So it's juggernaut versus juggernaut. Final score is going to be like 27-23.
27-23. I'll be looking forward to that. But what you doing for? You throwing a party, or you just gonna sit there and watch it by yourself?
I'm going down the bar. I'm going down Goodfellas.
Going down Goodfellas?
Yep.
Pretty rowdy crowd down there?
No, it's pretty laid back. Nice crowd. Cigar bar. So you got a nice mix of, you don't really got a whole lot of younger people. I mean, I want to say about 30 and up.
It shouldn't be too much of an issue anywhere. Just when you get around and people start to lose their money, then they start tripping. You find that anywhere.
Yeah, but I don't really run into that at Goodfellas. It's a very mellow crowd up there.
All right. Well,
what you got going on? You got a Super Bowl party happening tonight?
No, man, I can't do Super Bowl parties because everybody talking about everything but the game, and I'm only interested in the game. So I stay away from that kind of stuff. I got me some crabs left over from yesterday, so I'm going to sit there and eat me some crabs and watch football. I might even have this thing on the simulcast. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but I ain't going around no crowd, that's for sure.
Okay. Oh, you said you got some crabs. I ain't never had no crabs. I never had no crabs down here.
You ain't had no crabs in Jacksonville, man?
I ain't had no crabs down here. They don't impress me. I'm from Baltimore.
Okay, so when you say impress you, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. So you've been in that place in D.C. where you can get a bag of crabs?
Huh?
You've been to that place in D.C. where you can get a bag of crabs?
I haven't been to the place in D.C., but D.C. ain't Baltimore. They ain't messing with us either.
Okay, so you can tell me what you guys gonna do with crabs that we can't do down here? Because I know you probably looking at them juicy crabs and all them places like that. No.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check them out though. I love seafood, so I'm gonna have to check them out.
Well, I tell you what I'll do. My cousin's a big crab head, and they put all these different ingredients in it and mustard and everything else. I get some of those. I bring you some.
Okay, sounds good, man.
But before you get off that though, are you following with the comics situation going on?
The college situation?
The comic comedians.
Oh yeah. You're talking about Monique and DL Hughley and everybody. Yeah.
And all that stemmed from Shannon Sharpe and his interviews.
So, with Cat Williams.
Yeah, Cat Williams, he's pretty much set the world on fire with that. He got like 57 million the last I checked, but all together he got about 80 million views, man.
Yeah.
So they're looking at Sharpe like he the one fanning all these flames, but he hadn't said anything to spark that. He just talking to him, and that's what came up.
Shannon Sharpe came into the year with a plan. He wanted his podcast to blow up.
Yeah. Well,
Cat Williams, he ignited that flame.
Well, he was going to blow up anyway because they're going to watch him because he's an NFL Hall of Fame. He's going to get fans.
But he wasn't going to get that traction that he got from Cat Williams before because he already had that podcast going off already. Now, Cat Williams is who really took it, who really gave it the notoriety that it has now. He was a genius for doing that because now he's opening the floor for everybody to come on the show. He's going to get ratings that way. So I think he on to something.
Yeah, he already had a bunch of people. He just talked to Usher, and what he's doing to get them out there and put them into the shelf. And when he get ready to pull them out on a timely manner, like Usher, he just released that the other day, and he's gonna be performing the game tonight.
Mm-hmm.
But I brought that up to say, I heard him say something to Chad Ochocinco. He talking about you can't lend your platform to anybody. So, for instance, if I wanted to talk to Shannon Sharpe, he wouldn't talk to me because he feel like I'm trying to get his fan base. So
Yeah.
basically, it's running into the same circles. So what it did, though, I understand what he's saying, and I kind of agree with what he's saying because I wouldn't go try to talk to him anyway because these guys have this big sense of themselves. I don't want nothing to do with that. But it did give me an idea. I have an idea where I want to go talk to true fans like yourself and do interviews. See, they didn't go to school for all that kind of stuff. I know how to do all that crap. I just don't have my camera with me to do those kind of things. So would you be
Okay.
interested in going and doing like a A to Z kind of interview tied up around sports and how you came up? Because you told me how you were and how Baltimore is and somewhat.
I like the idea. I'm with it.
All right. Well, sometime, I don't know when, but before May, I want to sit down with you, break the cameras out, microphone, do it professional instead of just over the Zoom, if that's all right for you.
Sounds good, man.
All right. Well, I didn't give you my prediction. I think Kansas City somehow going to find a way to win again, man.
And if they do, don't be surprised if Kansas City wins. Taylor Swift gonna get that ring. She gonna get a ring too.
Man, what do you think about all that crap, man? That's the thing about the Super Bowl party. I don't want nothing to do with Taylor Swift.
I don't either, but hey, Taylor Swift, they've been putting it out there about how Taylor Swift generated so much money for being at these games. I feel like that's another reason. I feel like they probably paid us off. I ain't gonna lie to you. They probably paid us off because they wanted Taylor Swift to be at the Super Bowl because she generated
Well,
she
so in other
generated a
words,
lot of money.
that's another example of the league being fixed there.
Yeah, it's another example. I ain't mad. It is. We'll
I'm
be back.
mad.
We'll be back. We'll be back next year. Listen,
But the problem, but you got to deal with us next year, man. I should have a quarterback next year.
listen, I'm not worried about y'all.
You ain't worried about us?
Y'all,
Well,
y'all, listen. Y'all beat up. Y'all got us this year. That last
Yeah.
game ain't really count, but y'all got us
Right.
this year. But we circling that game next year.
Well, I'm gonna call Derrick Henry up. See, can he come to Pittsburgh, man?
No, y'all. Listen, y'all offense is about to take a step back
Why you say that?
because y'all got that boy Arthur Smith.
Yeah.
So y'all gonna do a whole lot of running. Najee Harris, as bad as I don't like that man, he's gonna have a great year next year. But outside of that, I don't really see y'all offense really being all that next year.
Well, you got to have a quarterback that can throw it.
I mean, Tennessee had Ryan Tannehill, so Pickett might be okay with that.
Well, I tell you what we can do. You can have Trubisky. How about that?
I'm good with Lamar Jackson.
All right, man. You have a good time at the game, man. Appreciate you coming
All right,
on.
man. All right, man. I'll talk to you next time.
All right, take it easy.
All right.
All right. All right, just got through with an interview with Jay, big time Ravens fan. I don't see anybody on right now, so what I'm likely to do, I'm just going to come back and do a simulcast of the game, just to entertain myself, if nothing else. This kind of stuff I enjoy, having good conversations about sports. Had a lot of in-depth stuff there, talking about the Ravens and the league. It kind of looking suspect in a lot of ways. Now you mentioned that fact about Taylor Swift. It wouldn't surprise me at all if they went to Baltimore and said, look here, we ain't worried about who wins. We need all this money to come in because Taylor Swift, she's going to drive a certain fan base in there. You know it's BS. We know it's BS, but we got to get this money, man. And because everybody like money, take this payoff, and then you guys come back next year. Now, if you get hurt, that's a chance you got to take, but at least get this money, man. Now, if it was me, and I'm old in the game, I'm trying to win a championship. I'll take the money and still go try to win. But the league, they're going to get you no matter what they do. And a lot of players, they sell their soul. They don't care. They just want to get the money. And a lot of them don't really care if they win anyway. So why not take the money if it's offered to you in such a situation like that? But this Taylor Swift stuff is just another example of purists like myself who could care less about that kind of stuff. They're losing interest in the game. I talked to a guy before I came online, the guy I've known for a long time, big sports fan, say he hadn't followed. He didn't even know who was playing in the Super Bowl until I told him. At least that's what he told me. But there's some truth there. He's a big college fan. And in college right now, a lot of things going on in college football we need to talk about. I think what I'm going to do in the next couple of days, we're going to talk about Nick Saban effect. what has happened since Nick Saban stepped away from Alabama? A lot of teams are coming up, and some that you may not even think about. They're getting better just by the fact that Nick Saban is no longer there. But that's for another day. Today, Kansas City is going to get it on with San Francisco in a rematch from Super Bowl 54. Just like last time, Kansas City survived, with a short throw by Garoppolo. That was the difference in the game. This time, I think they're going to beat San Francisco again, just because of the idea that Mahomes, the league loves him and they don't want to let him lose. Anything close, the officials are going to call. And if San Francisco, if you come out sputtering like they did the last couple of weeks and fall behind, there's no way they're going to catch Kansas City. Now, Baltimore did slow Kansas City down. They pretty much shut them out in the second half. And they played good enough defense to overcome that last week. But can they do that this time around? San Francisco's got another rugged defense. They got those boys coming off the edge. And even though Chase Young is kind of iffy, when he starts to play, he can be problematic, along with Joey Bosa on the other side. So keep an eye on that pass rush by the 49ers. It could be the key to the game. But if Mahomes has time to stand in there and throw, they're going to score some points. And I think they're going to find a way to get enough turnovers to get past the Niners tonight. But that's just my prediction. We still got about an hour or so before the game kicks off. It's going to be a great game, Super Bowl 58. I'm going to get me a little hole somewhere, and I'm going to watch this game, and I'm going to enjoy it. So get back with you next time. This has been Sports for Real. Our recording stopped. Recording stopped. And I am going to end this meeting. Let's see if I got anybody in the chat, which I probably don't. It's fine with me.